week's Extra Life on F5 Live is proudly powered by Loot Crate. Whether you're a gamer, anime fan, or pop culture aficionado, Loot Crate has got a crate for you. They curate a bundle of collectibles, apparel, figures, and more that you can't find anywhere else. The crates get delivered to your door. It's like getting an awesome birthday present from yourself every single month. And to learn more about the crates that are available and any deals that are going on, you can go to f5live.tv/lootcrate. All right, we just talked about GeForce Now, and now we have an interesting, semi-related and completely different topic, and that is Google Stadia. We know that Google has had difficulties with getting adoption on Google Stadia for one reason or another. Either consumers just don't care about what Google's up to. We know that the reviews were mixed early on, that the capabilities were iffy, the controller was horrible, and sometimes it's hard to get away from that, icky taste in your mouth once it's there. Whatever the reason, earlier this year, Google had announced that some changes were coming. First, they nixed their first-party game studio before the first game was ever finished. And then about a week later, they said that they had some business model changes that they were considering. And one of them was licensing the technology and becoming a white label distribution platform for others. And this week, we see the first known fruit of that new business model. And it comes in a weird place. It comes from AT&T, who is offering their wireless subscribers the ability to play Batman Arkham Knight. Now, let's talk about this a little bit. You have to be an AT&T wireless subscriber to get this game for free, but you cannot play it on wireless. You have to play it on a desktop. It's one of the games from Stadia that will only work on a desktop. And so, what? The tie-in doesn't make a ton of sense to me, except for the fact that AT&T bought Time Warner, and that became Warner Media. Warner Media owns DC Comics. Obviously, DC Comics owns Batman, which brings us Batman Arkham Knight. That's a really long chain of events, but as we talked about last week, DC's got a lot of stuff coming, including 2 new games in the DC franchise. Maybe this is AT&T hyping up their stuff ahead of the next releases. I don't know what's going on here, Avram.
I mean, the most important thing you need to know about Google Stadia is that right now, if you sign up for Google Stadia, you can play Paw Patrol Mighty Pup Save Adventure Bay for free.
You know what? How can you pass it up?
How will the AT&T version of it give you all of the things that Stadia does, or only that Batman game?
Only that Batman game, running entirely on the Stadia infrastructure.
Will you know that it's Stadia if you haven't watched our show?
No. So nowhere is it labeled. Google is not mentioned anywhere, though it has been confirmed with AT&T. AT&T has said in a couple of statements that yes, this is powered by Stadia. No, we're not talking about it because it is a true white label. It is just like going to the grocery store and buying the Publix brand, pasta sauce. And knowing that somebody else made it.
So are you going to be able to play any other games on it? I mean, is AT&T going to have a list of games?
Not right now. It is white label entirely for this one title.
You have to really want to play that Batman game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
really want to play that.
It's all so strange. Like, I had expected with something like this that a company like maybe Ubisoft, bad example because they have a really strong partnership with GeForce Now, but let's say Ubisoft, because they're a smaller studio, they're not EA, they're not Activision. Maybe they contract with Google to make whatever they call their launcher now. It used to have a name and now it doesn't. It doesn't matter. Through their launcher that you could cloud stream, and they wouldn't have to build any of that infrastructure. That is how I suspected that this would be used. This use is very weird to me.
Money, I guess. I mean, companies are constantly looking, wireless companies are constantly looking for that one little extra thing that they can give you to as an incentive to switch,
T-Mobile
right?
Tuesdays.
Once they have you, they don't care about you anymore, but but they look for that one little incentive. So if a Batman game gets them a few people, if I don't know, T-Mobile was giving away, I think, for a while, free Apple TV Plus subscriptions.
Yeah.
But as an existing customer, I couldn't get it. So, um,
Oh.
so I think some existing customers can get it if you have a more expensive plan or something. It
Gotcha.
was the same thing with like the Netflix thing, where for a while, I don't know if they're still doing it. For a while, they were giving you free Netflix,
Yeah.
but it turned out that if I wanted to get the plan that had free Netflix, I'd have to spend like another $30 a month for the same plan. So it's
Yeah.
just cheaper to buy Netflix, right? So
Sure.
anyway,
And then Sprint was doing the free Hulu, but it was the ad supported Hulu, and you couldn't pay the difference to upgrade. So
right. So these are all like
I
these
gave
are all
mine to
little,
my parents.
little gimmicks.
It's like, here you go. Take my Hulu
These
subscription.
are all little gimmicks that they have
Yeah.
to get you to sign up for things. Um,
Maybe this is
you
a
can,
test, right? Maybe this is a test.
yeah.
Maybe the Warner Brothers game studios, family of game studios, maybe they're looking at doing a whole my idea, right? Maybe because Warner Brothers is another small collection of studios. Maybe they're looking at doing a completely Warner Brothers branded game streaming service that's actually Google Stadia powered. Maybe this is just a test to see how it works. I hadn't considered that until just now.
Yeah, I mean that's possible. I mean they have all these other Batman games, right? Wasn't that Arkham Knight's a game that's coming out that we
Mm-hmm.
were talking about the other day?
Yeah.
So
Well, Arkham Knight is the one. Yeah, Arkham Knight is the one that we're talking about. But yeah,
oh, I'm
they've got
sorry. So what?
yeah.
They have other games coming.
Last week they had uh, two new Batman titles that were coming. Let me get down to the games. Gotham Knights and something else.
Oh, am I confusing Gotham Knights and Arkham Knights?
Yes.
Or are they the same thing? Okay.
No, yeah. Well, that's absolutely what happened. The titles are too close. Batman Arkham Knights, and the new one is Gotham Knights, which is the one that's wider. But they've also got
there's a lot of Knights.
They've also got the Suicide Squad game coming. So they've got a lot of games coming up from the DC brand. I think it's and obviously there's a whole backlog of Batman games and DC games as well. Maybe they're trying to put together a DC or a Warner Brothers game streaming service, and this is their first test at it. It'd be interesting.
I don't care if it doesn't have Farming Simulator and Bus Simulator. I don't want to sign up.
I get so many press emails from them.
Yes, that's why I mention it. There's some company that comes out with I forget the name of it, that comes out with all these simulator games, and I just noticed that Stadia also has Farming Simulator. So, which, actually strikes me as a great idea because, we don't need to go off on this tangent, but it actually strikes me as a great idea because a lot of people, they have like a trucking simulator and a bus driving simulator and a farming simulator. And when I first saw these, I was like, man, what a weird idea for a game. And then I just thought about it for a minute. I was like, but if the goal of your game is to do something that you will never get to do in real life,
sure,
in a very realistic way, to like try someone else's job for a while, hey, that's actually pretty brilliant. So,
See,
um,
it's that really realistic way that ended it for me because I was thinking Crazy Taxi.
right, yeah. So it's like, how seriously do you want to take your farming anyway?
Right.
So,
I
yeah, I
wasn't
mean,
even
sure.
interested in Farmville, and that was nothing like
Yeah,
farming.
well, right. So if you really take it, if you've played Farmville and you said, what if I did this in a much more serious way? Um,
What if I actually had to get
but
into a virtual tractor to get from thing to thing instead of just clicking?
yeah,
That would be
yeah,
better.
you know, the one like the bus simulator one sounded interesting to me because it sort of sounds like flight simulator, but like
Okay.
instead of flying to different cities, you're driving around them.
Takes a lot
If I
longer.
had time, yeah. But what if it's a cool looking place?
Sure.
Enjoy the scenery. So anyway, yeah, I mean, I think AT&T is dipping its toe in the water here to see whether this is worth its time. Um, it could be something where they have a bunch of different titles, and either they can upsell people on access to this
Right.
store, or they can use it as incentive for people to sign up,
Okay.
because AT&T doesn't is not the hippest. I don't think is seen by anybody as like the hippest carrier. Like Verizon often wins the awards for having good service, and T-Mobile is cheaper. So where does that leave AT&T?
They're the party service. But yeah, AT&T is kind of left out in the cold usually. So, they were given HBO for a while depending on your plan. They were doing all kinds of, direct TV. Now, Go, whichever one it was. Oh god, so many services that they've had, and they don't even own DirecTV anymore. But they were doing that for a while. Always trying stuff. Maybe not ever succeeding with it. Maybe that's the problem. But we'll see what happens here. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of F5 Live Refreshing Technology. If you did, please subscribe to the channel down below, and of course, hit the notification bell because we know that subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. If you've got topics that you'd like us to talk about in the future, please comment them down below. And if you'd like to not follow us on YouTube, there's lots of ways that you can follow along with our content by going to plughitslive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.